All
For those
right.
of you
Welcome.
listening on the pod,
Oh, look at
for those
that.
of you-
Welcome out with you. Got a long
Jacob,
loop.
you didn't take the repeat off? Oh, my God.
I don't know
This
what
is
I did.
unbelievable, man.
Could be a
Stuff out
crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff.
All right. Let's hit some betting odds, guys. Now, listen, I said this at the top of the show, and I'm going to say it again. In no way, shape, or form are we trying to turn this into a gambling program, okay? This isn't about here's how you can make some easy money. It's not the point of this. The point of this whole breakdown here is real simple. What is Vegas? How is Vegas seeing the Packers? Super Bowl odds, conference championship odds, the NFC North odds, and then a few players sprinkled in here. So we'll just kind of take it one at a time. I agree, Chuck. Truer words have never been spoken, sir. First things first, Super Bowl winner. Okay, here are the Super Bowl winning odds. Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles lead the way at a plus 600. Obviously, the low number wins here, guys. Baltimore Ravens are in third at plus 650. Buffalo Bills in fourth at plus 700. Detroit Lions fifth at plus 900. Then you've got the 49ers at plus 1,300. The Bengals at plus 1,600, along with the Commanders at plus 1,600. Then you got your Green Bay Packers tied with the LA Rams at plus 2,000. So when you look at the Super Bowl odds, we are what? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ninth best odds to win the Super Bowl this year. I don't know about you guys, but I think we're in a pretty good spot, seeing that we had the youngest roster in the league last year. We got a little bit older this year. I feel like this roster got better. But we just showed you with the PFF breakdown, they believe you got significantly better in terms of who you lost compared to who you picked up in free agency. Then you look at the draft class and drafting a receiver for the first time since 2002. You've heard that 1,000 times. I think we're in a good spot here, boys. I kind of like I like where we're sitting here now. Am I saying go put money on that? That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm simply saying this proves that the Vegas Sharps, Emilio, they believe the Packers are a top 10 team. That's what this says right here, right?
That gets me excited. That's all we've been asking for. Give us a top 10 team that gets you in the hunt, that gets you take you to the dance, and we can go from there. Because you're always going to have the those top 3 or 4. I'm fine with being back there. We haven't proven it yet, so that's totally fine by me.
Yeah, Greg Rice says, I think Clayton wants me to bet my house on the Green Bay Packers. No,
Good,
Greg, here's what we do, Greg. You
Nah,
send me the money that you want to bet, and I'll throw that into the stock market, and then I'll get you a nice little return on it. Don't go betting the farm on the Packers to win the Super Bowl, okay? This isn't like the John Cougar Mellencamp bet that Kevin on The Office was talking about, Jake.
If he ever wins an Oscar, I'm a very rich man.
His voice down, dude. What do you think about this, Jacob, where they're sitting here in the Super Bowl odds?
Yeah, honestly, I think that's even a little bit better than what I could have hoped for, just as far as how we ended the season, certain question marks we had. But you look at I think that's fair in that grouping of in between LA and Washington. That to me seems about where I kind of put us as far as the hierarchy of the NFL right now. And, at least we're above the Vikings. We're above those Chicago, Bears over there. And, even teams like Dallas, Miami, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Seattle, teams that I would have thought, if you look at them on paper, you might think, oh, they're right up there. But no, the Packers are quite a bit more established. We belong in that grouping there with like Detroit, San Fran, Cincinnati, Washington. I think that's accurate.
Holmes in the chat said you may not be able to do that nowadays, Clay. Shaking my head. If you're talking about the market, sir, I'm just gonna tell you right now, your boy batting pretty good last couple of years. I'll just leave it at that. You got to know how the game is played, but my goodness, it's been a fun year, no doubt. I got a question for you guys. This is great by Solar. He says, Packers, this isn't a question. He's saying the Packers are better than the Rams. I'm going to get y'all's take. I'm going to give my take. Do you guys think the Green Bay Packers are a better football team than the LA Rams? Now, keep in mind, that doesn't mean that the Packers are going to be significantly higher than them. It doesn't mean the Rams, if you go that way, are going to be significantly higher than them at the end of the year. There's a lot of things, a lot of luck comes into play, injuries, things of that nature. On the surface, if these teams stay completely healthy through the entire 2025 season, which we know will not happen, which team would you say is a better football team?
I think that they're almost as evenly matched as you can get. I mean, two, I would say, established quarterbacks. Stafford maybe falling off a little bit. Love maybe on the rise a little bit. 2 really good running back rooms between Kyron Williams and Josh Jacobs. Both of them have studs at wide receiver. I'd probably argue that LA with Puka and with Devontae now have a more solid top 2. I mean, you really have to watch out for them. Then they got Tutu Atwell as well and a few other guys. Both teams have great tight ends, two tight ends at the top of their I shouldn't say great, but capable tight ends. And then I think it comes down to which defense is better. Right now, I think I'd have to get the slight edge to LA, if I'm being honest.
You're crazy. The defense edge to LA, Jacob? Yeah, their front line.
Jared Verse is a beast, though.
Jared Verse.
Their front 4, yeah. I think I might give them the upper hand. I don't think their backers and secondary are where we're at.
What if the rumors come true and Ramsey goes back there? Does that change your view? Because again, that's a similar thing. They got their Jalen Ramsey, we got our Jair.
It helps. Jalen Ramsey's getting up there in age, and they've been talking about moving him to safety like they did Charles Woodson because his corner, his corner play is kind of dwindling a little. So that's kind of where I'm hung up on that. I would honestly give it to the Packers, though. I think that the Rams have a little bit better offensive structure, maybe a little bit performance currently, maybe with just their receivers. But I think I would still give it to the Packers.
All right, so Jacob, you said Rams, is that right? Or if you had to pick? Or
if I had to pick, I still think the Packers are slightly better, but it's very even. All
right, let's hit this super chat, and we'll come back to that conversation. Austin Hardy with the super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate the support. I really feel like our 2024-2025 seasons are going to be almost an exact replica of the Eagles' 23 and 24 seasons. What do you guys think about that? That's an interesting kind of comp, right? I mean, I could see the similarities. You got both of you have got a good running back, right? Now I know they added their running back the year that they ended up winning the Super Bowl. If I remember correctly, that was Saquon's first year in Philly. The fact that the Giants let him walk is just wild to me.
And X.
Yeah, I could see a lot of comparisons there, don't you think? I mean, both defenses were strong. We got a legit top 10 defense, a top 3 run defense, definitely a top 10 pass defense as well. What do you guys think about that? I think it's an interesting comment there.
I think that with looking at it like that, at least we didn't have the offseason scuffle that they did after that, and then they can go on and go ahead and win a Super Bowl. Sign me up. You know what I mean, Austin? I'm totally for that. Let's bring the Lombardi home. As long as we keep growing. We thought that the Eagles were going to fall apart last year, and we almost took that. If we took that win from them in Brazil, that may have changed something. But it didn't really stop them. They were on a roll. I think that's where we're headed.
That is kind of crazy, those similarities, too, because we have our own – I don't think it was as pronounced as the drama. Like, yeah, people were talking about getting rid of Sirianni, getting rid of this and that player, how A.J. Brown hated Jalen Hurts, how this guy couldn't get along with that guy, how the defense wasn't going to come around. And then all of a sudden you start winning, and all of a sudden any of that drama, all that darkness kind of fades, and all of a sudden people are having fun and they're winning Super Bowls. Winning solves everything, as everybody says, right? So I think that's a fair comparison. I don't know how much I like it, but I think it's fair.
Yeah, I try to think coaching staffs, you got to give Sirianni the edge over Matt LaFleur, as bad as that hurts me to say that. I mean, the guy's won the big one. He's got a higher winning percentage. It is what it is. He's quirky. He's a weird little dude, but and he's winning football games, and his players play for him. There's no two ways about that. So, Austin, thank you so much for the super chat, bud. We appreciate you. Back to that, what we were talking about with Soder. Here's how I like to break this down, all right? Packers, Rams. The two most important aspects are head coach and quarterback. So I would ask you guys a question. Who has the better head coach, Sean McVay or Matt LaFleur? I'm going to go first on these. Which one has a Super Bowl win? Sean McVay. Which one has been to a Super Bowl multiple times? Sean McVay, right? He's actually the youngest coach in NFL history to coach in a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl, if I remember correctly, right? Mm-hmm. Bad as it hurts. You guys know I'm a LaFleur stan. I think LaFleur is an unbelievable coach. I think he's on a trajectory that if he wins a Super Bowl and he continues with this winning percentage, kind of rate that he's at, he's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. You got to get that ring. There's no two ways about that. And you got to be in that top 10 in winning percentage for him to pull that off. But as Soder says, Matt LaFleur is 5-0 head-to-head. This is how I like to respond to this, Soder. Which would you rather have? 2 Super Bowl appearances with 1 ring, or beating that team head to head. I'm going with Super Bowl. You know what I mean? That's just me personally. So, what do you guys think, coaching wise? Which is the better coach?
Yeah, you made a great argument.
Emilio.
You really did. You made a good argument. I think it does kind of have to go to Sean right now currently, but I would still, I still want to pick Matt though. That's the problem.
Right. And again, man, that's why that block punt against the 49. I'm telling you, man, that punt doesn't get blocked return for a touchdown that year. I think we're going to the Super Bowl. I really believe it. So.
I think it's fair. I like McVay quite a bit, and I like LaFleur in his own right too. But I think what 2-0 for this says kind of highlights the little bit of a difference. McVay has a guy on his staff whose whole job is to pull him back from bumping into things, and it is true. The dude literally, he'll almost like he's a spotter. If he gets over that line of scrimmage or the boundary line, he'll pull him back. If he starts getting too close to the line judge, he'll pull him back, and he's running with him sometimes. And I like that. I want that intensity. And Matt LaFleur, to his credit, he gets intense, but I just feel like it's sometimes sloppy emotion intense, and only like I see the intensity when he gets angry, and it's not like a righteous good anger. It's more of like I'm out of control anger. And right. I want to see it more of I want him more of a Dan Campbell freaking out on the sidelines because you're getting guys jacked up versus I'm emotionally reacting to something not going my way.
All right.
That's kind of it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. That's a great way of describing that, right, Emilio?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I know Jacob has a spotter like that at the Oval, but I think that you're right. Having that kind of energy hold
on. He's got a spotter on the pole under the seat. that upper 30s lower lumbar ain't gonna.
Best view in the business is what they say.
Go ahead, Emilio. Sorry, man.
No, I think it's a great point, seriously, because you want to see that your coach cares, right? Sometimes if it's a flat line of motion, you get a little hung up on not having that little fire. So yeah, I think Matt wants to wake up with his piss hot too.
Right. So now the question is quarterback. Who's the better quarterback? I'll let you guys go first this time because my argument's going to be the same thing. It's hell with it. I'll just go. Which one has a Super Bowl ring, right? And I know wins aren't a quarterback stat. But which one's got the better arm talent? That's an interesting question, right? Because Matt Stafford was in the 8th grade. I remember this. He was in the 8th grade when people were saying that dude's going to be the number 1 pick in the NFL one year. Like that's how good his arm talent was all the way through the entire process. So it's tough. To me, that's a little closer for me than the Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay argument. But I guess I'm just a boring fan, man. I'd have to say you got one game to win. This is what it comes down to. One game to win. Who are you taking? Sean McVay or Matt LaFleur? Or are you taking Matt Stafford or Jordan Love? You got to pick, you know what I'm saying? One of each of those two questions there. It's tough, man. It's tough. It is. So
yeah, you're right. At the current moment, I think it's got to be Stafford just because he brought home that Super Bowl. Arm talent, though, we could be talking Jay Love there.
Yeah, that's right. That's exciting too, man.
Yeah, it really is.
I think of that Tucker Kraft throw against Houston. Just looking that safety off and going, I know he's going to get there, but I'm going to hum this tater right by his ear and ain't nothing he can do about it.
Mm-hmm. But just like I remember that video of Matthew Stafford, he break his shoulder, went back in.
Oh my God.
When he was young, that kind of fight and dog, you could sign me up for a quarterback like that, Yeah,
for sure. Ed Madden points out Packers, he's picking the Packers. The Rams can't stop the run. That's that's the one edge that the Packers' current team has over the Rams. There's no two ways about that. H.E. Solder said, much like Jacob at the office, Packers have a better back end. All right, there you go. Holmes says Green Bay's defense is better, in my opinion. I think I don't know. We need to look at the rankings. What do you guys think about the defenses? I'm going to pull the rankings up on my end here and see where they fall. But what do y'all think? Which one has the better defense? Emilio, you seem to think that
for sure. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, I think the Rams D-line is going to be nice. I think they have some weakness behind that, though.
Got it. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I think that's fair. They had the impossible task of trying to replace Aaron Donald and do it in like one draft. And they did about as good as a person could by getting Jared Verse. And they got, oh gosh, I'm going to space on it. They signed 2 other really decent defensive linemen that had some pretty immediate impacts or rookies that look to do it this year. So I think it's fair. Like Amelia said, you can look back at their linebacking core, not a lot to be excited about. And a lot of that secondary. Yeah. Braden Fisk. Yep. Totally.
In terms of scoring defense, points per play, Green Bay finished 5th in the league. The LA Rams were 13th. So you guys are spot on there. Definitely have a better defense.
What was that number, Clay?
The ranking or the number?
Yeah, the ranking.
The ranking, the Packers were 5th in points per play, and the LA Rams were tied for 12th.
And 5 is before 7, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Sir.
Okay. I wasn't sure if a top 7 defense or not was in the.
He killed the camera. For those of you who don't know, you're new to the show here. Jacob's supposed to be getting a tattoo on the left butt cheek because he said, "Actually, let's go to the banner here real quick. I know we got it. Here we go. Let's go to the ticker. Okay. Costco has some good tequila. That's Coach Lynn.
That's a good point.
Jacob also said it's 2024. You don't know what I meant. And then here it is. If the Packers have a top 7 scoring defense, I'll get an Emilio tattoo on my left butt cheek. Jake. There you go. Yeah. He also said they were human meat missiles. That was coined in 2024 as well.
Dang,
I will never forget that one. I immediatally went, do I have to edit that out? I think I need to edit that out. Right. Just the tip. That was head coach Tupac. There you go. I actually make good music.
Jacob was half of our quotes from the test.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. They're winning 14 games, boys. Bucket. PTA Tim.
Third and Wicks, Clay. Look at you.
2023, 3rd and Wicks. Boy, I jinxed the hell out of that one, didn't I?
Drinks the Gatorade of working.
Tucker Kraft drinks the Gatorade of working, man.
That's a fact.
PTA Tim, are you worried about Brazil? I'll play the Eagles on the damn moons, what he said.
Oh, and then the bet, man.
Right, we got to give those Krispy Kreme donuts
away.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now it got serious. See, let's just get that off the screen. It don't even matter. All right. So let's move along now to the next one. Let's go conference. All right. So we talked Super Bowl. Now let's talk conference champs. Let's not even really worry about the AFC too much. I thought this was interesting. So the Vegas odds, according to ESPN Bet, for the NFC champion team is the Philadelphia Eagles at plus 300, the Detroit Lions at plus 400, the 49ers at plus 650, the Washington Commanders at plus 850, and then the Green Bay Packers at plus 1,000. So according to Vegas, again, even slate, clean slate going into this year, they have the Green Bay Packers as the 5th best team in the NFC. That gets me excited that we're a full plus 400 better odds over the Minnesota Vikings, because there's some people that think the Vikings are just going to plug and play J.J. McCarthy and be as dominant as they were last year. I just don't see it. But what do you guys think about that NFC champion odds there?
I think that us talking about the Rams the whole time, are the numbers right there are telling us that we are pretty evenly matched, and I think that's kind of where we ended up landing. Both of us had plus 1,000 there. I mean, we're right in it. We really are. And if Detroit, we don't know what's going to happen with those two, the 2 new coaches. So their plus 400 might be an issue. We'll see. Top 5 is perfect, though.
Yeah. Jacob, does that surprise you there? Do you think we should be higher or lower? What do you think, man?
No, I think that's just about right. Like Amelia just touched on, there are a lot of pieces that are still to be seen in Detroit. I think Philly's going to Philly. They'd lost a bunch of pieces on that defense, but they just are so good at drafting and replenishing. San Francisco, a couple of questions on that offense, when they lose Debo and all that, but I think that they deserve to be there. They just perennially are good. And Washington is one where I feel like they could earn that ranking, but I feel like they could be a candidate for taking a steep drop off. Like, I don't think that anybody expected them to be nearly as good as they were last year. And if for whatever reason Jalen regresses, I think that's how the offense, the whole team goes as he goes. And I could see them possibly just sliding out. I could also see them absolutely turn it on and probably be in like either that 1 or 2 ranking next year. But I think Packers being 5th, I think it's realistic. And I think it's, like you said, better than the Vikings, better than Tampa Bay. That to me is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I know many people will look at the Niners and go, no, man, they should be lower than the Packers. I don't know, boys. But this is perfect right here, what 2-0 for this says. Niners season relies on Christian McCaffrey's health, and that's as shaky as it gets. It's a great point. If he stays healthy and Bosa stays healthy and Fred Warner stays healthy, right, they got their quarterback in Brock Purdy. We showed George Kittle's numbers the other night. I was prepared to go look at Tucker Kraft keeping pace with George Kittle. His first year in the league as a starting tight end wasn't even close. George Kittle had over 1,000 yards receiving. It was something, was it 1,400 yards receiving his first year in the league or something crazy, right? So if George Kittle's good to go, they say he's in the best shape of his life this time of year. Everybody says that, right? A lot of the dancers out there at the office do, right, Jacob? They think they're in the best shape of their life, all your buddies over there. So, listen, the 49ers, if they're healthy, they're going to be right back in the mix, and they're going to have a much easier schedule. If I remember correctly, they're going to have one of the easiest schedules in the league this year, I believe, because I think they finished – did they finish last in their division? Am I thinking right, boys?
Last or second to last?
Second to last, yeah. So that means they'll be playing a much easier.
But the 49ers seem like they're always kind of on an up and down season path. Like sometimes they have their up seasons where they're 12, 15, 12 or 13 wins, something like that. And then sometimes they have their 5-6 win seasons, and it just kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah, sure. All right. Anything else you guys want to hit on the conference championship odds here? Obviously, the Bears sitting at plus 1,600, significantly lower down the list here. That I think that is projecting they're going to take a step forward this year, and I could see that. It couldn't be worse than last year. Dallas is below Chicago. Boy, could you imagine being a Cowboys fan right now? That's an interesting spot to be in because you think you've got your franchise quarterback. Jacob, I know he absolutely loves Dak Prescott. But the fact that you've got your franchise quarterback, at least the team thinks they do. You've got CeeDee Lamb, who was one of the most versatile wide receivers in the game last year, or has been since he got in the league. I think he got banged up last year, if I remember correctly. They got one of the best edge rushers, and he said he will be reporting the mini camp. No problem. He's going to play because he's under contract, and Micah Parsons. They've got some pieces in place. I wouldn't be surprised.
Added George Pickens, big deep threat.
There you go, right, to go along with CeeDee.
New coach.
No complete running back room.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams, drafted Jaden Blue, and they got Miles Sanders. So
I know they are a little worried. I know they are a little worried about the running back room a little bit. When I'm listening to their pod. So that's one thing that they are not sure about. And then they always want, Mozzie Smith to step up. They want all these guys on the D-line to step up and kind of fill in those shoes. But again, it's what I like listening to other pods because like they're in the same boat we are. They're hoping that their young guys are growing and, turning into something. And they hope that everybody they're bringing in is really going to help it. But you got to work around your quarterback. They're saying Dak's more of a pocket passer now, and that's true. I mean, what happened when he slid and busted his ankle, right?
Yeah, I think we were listening to the same pod. I can't remember which one it was, but they highlighted how, he's not the mobile guy that he once was. And the most important piece that they need to take a step is that Tyler Guyton, the left tackle that they had that everybody thought was plug and play, ended up being not plug and play. Yeah. And like you just said, if he can't get the blind side of Mr. Dak there, that whole season, even though you got all these certain pieces that look way inspiring and way better than the year prior, if that left tackle falls apart and Dak's got to start scrambling, bye-bye season.
Right, yeah. Guyton was still young, still learning. They lost one of their best offensive linemen to retirement, and then you're going back, okay, we drafted a guy, Booker, to fill in that guard spot. That's fine. But they were saying Booker's more ready out the gate than Guyton was. Guyton needed work. Guyton still needs work. Booker is ready to go ahead and start for the NFL, an NFL team. So that's exactly it. And then we're just sitting here like, all right, well, who's going to go in that line spot? Who's going to, is Rasheed going to get pushed? Who's going to be our right guard? And that's where, I just like getting another perspective on it. Because the dude that's on there talking, Brian Bradish, he was a scout for Green Bay when they won the Super Bowl in '96. So I like just hearing his points on where they're looking and stuff like that, even though it's for a different team.
No. Oh, good points. Let's move on to the division. All right, division winner. Here we go. NFC North, the Detroit Lions at plus 135. And then you've got the Green Bay Packers at plus 260, the Vikings at plus 360, and the Bears at plus 450. You look at the Detroit Lions. That's what this conversation really comes down to. Are they going to take a step back? What did they gain? What did they lose? I kind of felt like it was a push in terms of free agency. They lost some key players. They probably lost more than they picked up in free agency in terms of quality. However, the big thing is that coaching staff. I mean, when was the last time a team went on to, win a Super Bowl or win an NFC championship after losing both their offensive and defensive coordinator? There may be multiple teams out there. I don't know the answer to that question, but I have a feeling it's probably pretty darn slim. So the fact that they are losing their OC, even though their new OC was already in-house, he said nothing's going to change, just a few extra wrinkles. And they bring in another DC. I can't remember who it is right now. It doesn't matter who it is. The fact is, those are two guys that were the most sought-after coaches in the entire league last year in terms of becoming head coaches. Obviously, Aaron Glenn ends up with the New York Jets. And then, of course, you've got Mr. Here we go landing with the Chicago Bears, right? So I think it's reasonable to say Detroit is going to take a step back, Jacob. You throw in the fact that Frank Ragnow, one of, if not the best centers in the entire league, just up and retires. Now, I know they got Tate Ratledge, and they said he's looked good in camp. But Tate Ratledge is not going to step in and play at the level that Frank Ragnow did. He may get there midseason. He may be there in a couple of years. But Frank Ragnow was a dog, man. I mean, that dude was out there playing with a torn pec last year. He had a broken throat. You ever heard of a broken throat?
At the club, yes, I have.
Whoa.
Jacob's eyes light up. Anyway, Jacob, what do you think? It's still on loop. Do you think?
No, I meant to stop that one, and it just fired me right back up. So that's why Tim is the best.
He is the best. That's right. And again, he'll play the Eagles on the damn moon. What do you think, Jacob? Do you think we got a shot to win the North this year? Or do you think the Lions just kind of hold firm there and we're looking at a wild card spot?
Yeah, I really do think we have a very good shot to win the North. I think that those two teams should be a little more like the NFC West breakdown, where you got 150, 160, and then a couple of the other ones fall off because – I just don't see the Vikings having such a smooth transition as you highlighted, J.J. McCarthy. We know the Bears are the Bears. They're just going to lay a bunch of dookies no matter what they do. And with Detroit, I just think that, that's a lot to overcome. It really is. And I saw a fair point. Somebody in the chat, I can't remember where it was, but they said, they're getting Aiden Hutchinson back. That's a big piece to offset some of those crazy worries and losing certain people. But Dan Campbell's a rah-rah coach. He's not an X's and O's guy. And he lost two of the best X's and O's type analytical scheming, greats on both sides of the ball that are in the league now. So, yeah,
I think it's a good point. I don't know, Emilio. How do you see it here, man, with the Lions? You think they're going to hold firm? They're going to take a step back, missing both coordinators, or
early in the offseason, losing your center, that's tough. I think that's going to be an issue. Like Jacob said, like we've talked about, coaches could be an issue. We might be able to catch them early. We catch them on that first game, get the dub, get that one out of the way. That could be a great start and could be the start of their slip. But it is tough, when you're that rah-rah coach having to bring everything in. If you can't get them to buy into that rah-rah when it's later on in the season and stuff like that, because it's not really working out for you. If they don't go 14-2, is that rah-rah going to mean anything? If they're going 9-8, why are you sitting here telling us to buy kneecaps if we're just barely staying above 500? Right. So
great point. Ed Madden says death, taxes, and the Bears always suck. Amen to that, sir. Amen. Yeah. All right. So just a quick glance at all the divisions here. All right. Vegas says the Detroit Lions will win the North. The Eagles are going to run away with the NFC East over the Commanders. The NFC West is going to be won by the San Francisco 49ers, although the LA Rams are right behind them at a plus 160, with the Niners being at plus 150. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win the South at a plus 105. So when you look at the closest races here, the Packers are 135 behind the Detroit Lions. It's a huge drop-off between the Eagles and the Commanders. The closest race seems to be San Francisco and the LA Rams. And, other than that, the Packers, I think, would be the next to closest. Maybe Atlanta closing in on Tampa. I think Tampa will run away with that division personally. So anything else there, gents, on the divisional numbers? I kind of feel like Vegas is – I don't look at any of this and go, whoa, they're way off there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes sense. Deadfish just with a fun fact here. Hard to believe that the draft was 6 weeks ago tonight. That is actually pretty crazy. Which brings me to a fun fact. Look at Emilio's draft right there. Ferris Bueller's actual day off in the movie was June 5th, 1985, which is 40 years ago from today. So
heard it from a fan right here.
You've never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Oh my! I cannot believe we've talked about this before, bro. Clayton, you've never tried to take the miles off a car?
Yeah.
You've never just jacked up a car and tried to take the miles off of it?
Please tell me he put it in reverse. Did he put
it in reverse, baby?
No, he did not.
Yeah, you gotta watch it, bro.
You gotta watch. It's such a good movie, bro.
So that has something to do with him taking a car he wasn't supposed to take.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's all coming together now.
Fun story. I was 10 years old. 10 years old, old Clayton was, and most of my childhood, my parents would just run off to biker meets and be gone for the weekend. And I'd just be kind of left fend for myself from time to time. And I'm glad it was like that, to be honest with you. Maybe not at the age of 10, but at this moment, I can't remember where my parents were, but we had an old Isuzu Trooper. You ever seen one of those?
Dude, my parents had one. They're badass.
Those are a death trap.
Yeah,
that thing will roll over so quick. So anyway, it was a stick, and I rode dirt bikes as a kid a lot, so I knew how to work a clutch. And every time they would leave, I'd get that thing out, take it for a spin, right?
Oh, for sure.
So they left, and I'm like, all right, let's get the Trooper out. Let's go run around a little bit, right? So I hop in that Trooper, had to put a pillow underneath me, could barely reach the clutch, had everything right up in the windshield, right? Long story short, I cruised that thing around for about 45 minutes, ran the gas almost all the way out of it, brung it back, put it right in the backyard. I marked where the tire was because I know my parents are like, they're very meticulous. You know, they're going to know if I moved it. I parked it just right. I'm like, hell yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
I go in there, I'm watching TV, watch Sports Center or something. My dad comes home and went to the bathroom or something, came back in. He went, hey, you been driving the Trooper? And I went, what?
No.
You know how when you're lying as a kid? I was appalled. What? No, I haven't. Well, he went, come here. We walked on the back deck, and the Trooper was in the neighbor's backyard pinned against a tree. I didn't pull the emergency brake. And all I remember is walking out and seeing the top come into view as I get closer to the banister, and it's in the backyard. I'm like, all right. And then about that time, right in the back of the head from Dad.
Yeah.
So
should have just left it in gear, Clay.
To the last day that we had the Trooper, that dent was still in the back where it had the spare tire on the back and it was caved in on the door where it hit that tree. So, yeah. Mistakes were made. That's all I can say. Mistakes were made. Jacob, you ain't ever done it like that. You ever stole a car or anything, man?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, actually last week.
Nah, dude, the dumbest thing I ever got in trouble for, me and the boys, we went out and we were going to ding-dong ditch and we had a house that was open, and the guy had a big pickup truck in the front of his house, and he had a hose that was connected, and his window was open. And I thought it would be funny to grab the hose and fill up his gas tank in the truck until it overflowed into the street. And then, since that didn't do the trick, I thought it'd be funny to throw the hose into his house and then run away. And believe it or not, the cops got called. And they found us, and I had to pay the city of Hudson $3,000 for them pumping out the sewers full of gas because they said it was a toxic, hazardous, whatever. And the guy wasn't very happy about his house either, but he didn't make me pay him. So,
yeah.
Anyways.
That's a nice guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The government always getting involved when they don't need to be, Jake.
Yeah.
You know, unbelievable.
It's kind of annoying, you know.
Emilio, what about you, man? Did you
you
eat crayons or something when you were a kid?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly can't even remember that.
What's the worst thing you did? Emilio, you had to have done something. What's the worst thing you did as a kid, man? Come on now. There's got to be something.
I mean, I fired up a lawnmower when my mom was inside when I was like 7 years old. I fired up the push mower and started going out there, and she tweaked. But I really can't think of anything crazy bad that I did.
That makes sense.
Come to me.
Oh,
the first time Emilio came to the house here, actually the only time he's been up here, he came up for the draft. Not this past year. We were in Green Bay, but the year before. That story makes complete sense, Emilio. The worst thing you ever did was started the mower. Okay. He shows up at the house. I'm like, all right, go answer the door. He comes to the door with a bottle of tequila for me because he knows I like tequila, right? And he had 2 bundles of flowers for Mandy and her mom. I'm like,
Aw.
this ass kiss. Look at this guy right here, right? So that does check out a million. So yeah, and of course, the second he left, Mandy's mom, I really like him. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah.
Walked in with. I've never bought her flowers. I've known her for 25 years. I've never
Jake,
bought her flowers.
Clay's still hearing about that today. Like, when was the last time you got me flowers, Clay?
Without about it. What were you going to say, Jacob? I'm sorry. I didn't cut you off.
Nothing. Real quick. When the Hudson Golf Course was still there, it was nice. And around like the 8th hole, it butted up, and there was a fence. And in a strip mall, there was an Ace Hardware. And me and my buddy Dave, we were walking home at dusk, and we decided that we were going to steal like a 20-foot maple tree from the Home Depot, throw it over the fence, jump the fence, steal a shovel from the Home Depot, dig a hole on the green, plant the maple tree, and run away. And then like 2 days later in the Hudson Star Tribune, it was like vandals with a funny, and with like we cut it out like serial killers and like put it up on the wall. Dude, it was bad.
Glued it on there.
Vandals.
That's a great prank though. Imagine the guy teeing off and being like, is that a tree on the green on night? Put around it. Whatever.
It'll be all right. Everything's good. Prince said in the chat, Emilio is smooth with a V confirmed there. So
Appreciate that.
Smooth.
it was pretty smooth. Yeah. And
So
the bar
the
in
only
my
other
house
thing,
to where I have to buy stuff now. I'm like, I was like the Tiger King. I'm never going to financially recover.
but the second thing I said to Clay was, "That's your X mark over there? Like, let me get a spin on that thing."
Exactly.
But just to the Philly point, I was listening to that tune into.
Go ahead, Emilio. Be professional.
I was listening to the Tune Into Dylan pod with AJ Dillon, and he had Sean Clifford on there, and I haven't gotten through the whole thing, but Sean was asking AJ, like, what's different kind of about Green Bay and Philly. He said that Philly just has competition stacked on competitions, and like in this period, he's like, every day there's a competition, every week there's a different competition. In that competition, there's a competition for OTAs, and then there's one for like the whole training camp and off-season program. He said that's probably the only thing different than what you're getting at Green Bay, or the kind of different thing. But Clifford was just talking about how much the team has come together and what the locker room's like inside. He's like, yeah, you see it from the outside, but like we are tight knit inside that locker room. So it is cool to hear guys that are still there talk about it, and then ex guys who had been there talk about it.
Yeah, and Aaron was pretty vocal this past year, right? Talking about how Green Bay's got something kind of special, in terms of their culture. So I can't remember exactly how he said it, but he was complimenting how the Packers run things. He said it kind of like most players do when they leave Green Bay. Like once you go to the Jets, it's like, yeah, okay, Green Bay, they've got all their ducks in a row over there.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Anything else, boys? We good? We've covered it all, man. We've talked about Jacob's illegal activities. We've talked about people are probably going to try to file a complaint on my dad abusing me for smacking me in the back of the head. But, hey, let me tell you something. Our household, I'm glad I got my butt kicked as a kid. Because there was many times as an adult, I say this all the time, I'm expecting one of my parents to punch me in the back of the head. Like, okay, better not do that. I'm about to get hit here. So, how you guys feel about that?
I never once got a whooping that I didn't 100% deserve.
Right. I don't know why I didn't before, to be honest.
Seriously.
Yeah. All right. Anything, Emilio? You good?
No, I'm good. I know Jacob. Hi, Jacob. You hit all the spoons?
Oh, bro. Dude. Yes. One time I broke my mother's new set of plastic spoons because I knew she would try to hit me, and thinking that would stop it, she hit me so much worse with the wooden ones. Oh. Bro, I would have never made it. I used to go to school limping, and if they'd look at it, it'd look like a Jackson Pollock painting of just purple and brown and green bruises. Like,
my
dude.
I said 100% that I never did not deserve. Yeah,
I did. Yeah,
they got creative, man. In the late 80s, early 90s, it was race car tracks, it was coat hangers, it was anything.
Dude, I just saw a video of a grandma had a fan blade to square them up. A fan blade. He said, I've seen flip-flops, I've seen belts. I've never seen the fan blade come down.
Bro, we had a giant weeping willow tree in our front yard.
Oh,
that sucker got used.
Oh, yeah, those are flexible.
Yeah, they are.
All right, that's it. We've been off the rails for too long. Appreciate everybody hanging out with. I don't know how the hell the numbers went up while we were having that conversation, but they
Twitter fired back up.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys were awesome. I want to give a special shout out to Austin Hardy. Thank you for the super chat. Also, if you want to support the show, the best way to do so is join our Patreon community at patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. $3 tier gets you access to everything in the entire site, where you can see these Vegas odds, stuff like that, little articles we put together, things that we cover on the show that you can go back and kind of look at. You also get an early preview as well. For anyone who's a member of the $3 tier, okay, the cutoff is going to be Saturday at midnight. Anyone who's a member of the $3 tier is going to be entered into a giveaway for an autographed Kingsley and Igbare rookie card. Really, really beautiful card here that was donated by Rick Kruger. So we'll be giving that away on Saturday night's show. Jake, Emilio, appreciate y'all's time, man.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Everybody have a wonderful evening. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.